come on in. You caught me doing my daily exercise routine using my little trampoline. And I am going to just take a break from that for now. Put my shoes on. And we're going to go over to the art table, and I'm going to share some journaling with you today. I'm so glad that you could come back and we could talk about more of this creative journaling during the time of COVID-19. So have a seat, and I'd like to share with you some journaling I've been doing, because I hope that you'll get some ideas about what you can do to relieve stress at home. So if you're sheltering in place, and even if you're not, these are great techniques. They've really helped me. And the ones I'm going to share today are from two of my books. One of them is from Drawing Your Stress Away. I was feeling very overwhelmed the other day, earlier in the week. And so I started drawing with both hands, dominant and non-dominant, just scribbling out the feelings. And I put some music on, Hobim, because I love Brazilian jazz. And I thought, well, I'm going to put some music on to help me get out of this feeling of overwhelm. And I just let the overwhelm come out. Again, two hands, just scribbling. You don't have to be an artist to do this. You don't have to have any talent. Yeah, I'm an artist, and I have been a professional at this, but when I'm doing this, the artist with a capital A is kind of set aside, and I just let the feelings come out. And so I kept the overwhelm. And you can see that up in the right-hand side here, and that was done with my non-dominant hand, that writing. The drawing was all done with both hands. And then I did some writing about it, what it was like to let all that overwhelm out. And that's done with the non-dominant hand as well. I'm going to share some writing with you later. And then on another day, I had a pain in the neck. I'm sure we all have that from time to time. And so what I do is I use some techniques from this book. And this is Hello, This Is Your Body Talking, because I realized my body was talking. The stress I had been feeling was all knotted up in my neck. So I scribbled it out and did that with both hands. And I wrote down with my non-dominant hand exactly how it felt. It was tight, it was a knot, and it was stiff. And then I thought, well, I'm going to just scribble this feeling out. So you notice on this first page, with both hands, scribbling away with different colors, that pain was big. It was painful. It was hurting me. And so it filled the whole page. And then the more I scribbled, when I went over here, I noticed that the pain was moving. It had loosened up. It wasn't quite as painful. There was more energy in my neck, and I could literally feel it while I was drawing it, because I was moving my arms around, and I was really getting some movement going in my body and in my neck. And then I noticed that the pain was getting smaller. It wasn't covering my whole neck area and my shoulder, and it was literally starting to shrink down. And I did write some words with my non-dominant hand. But then, as I continued drawing, I noticed that that pain was getting smaller, and I wrote my orders, neck pain out. I didn't want it there anymore. And you notice that it got much smaller. So you can see the progression from a very large full-page scribble down to just a little bit. And then when I turned the page, I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to draw anymore, because the pain feels like it's gone, and I might as well just leave these blank pages to show that I don't have anything more to get out of my body. So that was great. These were some other drawings I did just for relaxation, playing music. And I had Alicia Keys on there, and I do a lot of drawing to Bobby McFerrin. This series was just to relax, again, using the Drawing Your Stress Away book. And these were a series of scribbles I did with both hands to Bobby McFerrin's album, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Very appropriate. And I just kept on drawing, and I had been feeling just generally kind of tense and stressed out. And I'd watched too much news. It was just really getting me. So I just kept scribbling it all out. And it was fun. This is what I call dancing on paper. What you're doing is leaving tracks on the paper the way ice skaters leave tracks on the ice. They're not trying to make art. They just leave those tracks because that's what happens when they skate. And that's what we're doing here. So I want to get you past the idea of making art with a capital A or worrying about what it looks like. This is really movement, and as I say, dancing on paper. So find your own music that you really like and just let it out. And again, I use both hands for this because I want to balance my brain. I want to use my whole body. And you'll notice how from those beginning scribbles that were kind of tight and kind of like knotted yarn, now things are really moving. And I really felt like I had let go of a lot of stress. Now, the words I wrote afterwards were just kind of indicative of how I felt then. Flowing with color, line, rhythm, shapes, shades, and patterns. And that's really what this is all about. Now, this one is very significant. I've been talking about scribbling. I've been showing you scribbles. But what you can do when you're trying to really get to the bottom of how you're feeling is you can draw an image or a symbol of it. And so I think a lot of you who are sheltering in place could relate to this. I started with this little dark section here, sort of like a labyrinth, and then this is all non-dominant hand, and then I added the brown lines around it, more labyrinth, and then this border on the outside. Now there is a way to get out and in, but it's pretty locked in. So you can really get the sense of that feeling, and you probably can relate to this right now. So then I wrote my standard dialogue form, which I want to share with you. I hope that you will write this down. We'll put it on the screen for you. These are 4 very important questions. So with your dominant hand, for me it's the right hand, you ask, what are you? And don't assume that you know what it is in the picture, because sometimes the answer will surprise you. What are you? And with my non-dominant hand, I wrote, I'm the insides, your insides, all cooped up inside you on this gray, dark, rainy day. How do you feel? Again, written with the dominant hand and the non-dominant, grounded, like when we were kids. And you remember what that was like on rainy days, had to stay inside. Couldn't go out on rainy days. We felt restless and stir-crazy like now, like all these days of staying home. I feel sad, too. And then I asked with my dominant hand, why do you feel this way? Because of COVID-19, we are staying home. We've been staying put for over 2 weeks now, even when it's not raining like today. I miss doing things and going places we always did before. Like going out for lunch or dinner, going to the gym for exercise every week, getting coffee at the coffee shop near the gym. They closed down now, going to the local shops. Can't do any of that. The shops selling clothes and antiques and art and neat stuff that we like are closed now. I really miss that. And I miss seeing all the people in town, friends, shopkeepers, and visiting with them. It's like a ghost town in town, empty. Only the bank and grocery stores and gas stations open. I'm so glad the ice cream parlor on the west end of town has been open. When we got a cone there last week, I thought, this is definitely a necessity. Ice cream is essential right now. That made me feel happy. If I couldn't have my ice blended latte from the coffee shop, I could at least have a coffee ice cream cone, but I had to eat it outside, alone on the sidewalk, because everything is takeout these days. And I was the only one on the street, just me and a couple of cars passing by. And then with my dominant hand, I asked, what can I do to help you? What do you need from me? Exercise at home on the little trampoline some more. We started that last week, but I need to do that more and longer periods of time. I like doing the walking a little. And jumping and dancing on it to music. Also, keep letting feelings out by dancing on paper, scribbling and drawing to music in the journal here, and even on the big paper. And then with my dominant hand, I ask, is there anything else? Yes, call friends and stay in touch. It's okay to email, but I like hearing the voices of friends and family and coworkers. Skyping is good too. Also, I miss eating out. So, do what you did yesterday and get takeout. It's like dining out at home, and it feels good to help the restaurant folks. It helps them working, and we have to help each other. That feels really good, especially right now. I'm glad we donated to NoKidHungry.com. The idea of kids going hungry or anyone going hungry really makes me sad. So donate and help others. That feels better to do that. I'm glad we can help others when we do work as a therapist on the phone and Skype, and when we do group calls for CJEA or interviews and podcasts and YouTube videos. Helping others helps me, and sheltering in place helps everyone. So I'm hoping that these techniques of scribbling and drawing and making images that symbolize how you feel and then dialoguing with them will help you. These are really basic activities to do in a journal. They're the prompts that I give very frequently to my clients. They're the ones that I use a lot. And I want to point out that you can use these with children. You can start children at a very early age keeping their journal. You give them a blank book, you give them some crayons and markers, and if they're old enough to hold a crayon or a marker and make marks on the page, they can start a journal. They don't have to know how to read or write. They can scribble. You can ask them to share if they want. Journals are always private, but with very young children, it's helpful to encourage them to share with you so that they get into the idea of what this journal is about. That's a place to leave their feelings, to put their feelings down on paper. And they can choose whatever colors they want. And then, of course, as they get a little bit older and they can articulate their feelings, they can tell you a little bit about it. They can give you a feeling word, like they're mad or they're sad or they're confused. And if they want you to, you can write their word down in their journal, somewhere near or on the page where they drew that feeling out. And this is interesting because later on, when they learn how to read and write, they're going to be able to go back to their journals and read the words that they spoke. And this is important because young children don't really understand the connection between all those little squiggly lines on the paper in their books and around the world and the words that are coming out of people's mouths. And this helps them to understand that connection, that words on paper came out as thoughts that people had, and those are the things that we speak, feelings that we express through words. I have books about that. And so if you need any more guidance on working with children, this is a great book to use, The Creative Journal for Children. It's actually a book for adults who are working with children. And so there are journal prompts in here for all ages, starting with the scribblers who can't write, and then going on to the children who can draw images and who can write about them. So these have been field tested, we've done research, these have been proven to help with academic gains, with behavior, and also with health, to help children release stress. So we've done 2 university monitored programs in schools, and we've researched this, so we know that this has been scientifically proven to benefit children. And of course it benefits the adults who are around them because the children are a lot happier. We also have a book for teens. So you can work with teenagers. You can give this book right to the teenager and they have journal prompts to work with directly. So it's directed to adolescents you can be from 12 to 13 on. Preteens can work with this as well as older teens. It's really helpful for them. And again, we've done a lot of testing in schools with that. Now, parents have stress too. So I recommend my book, The Creative Journal for Parents. And this is a book that has journal keeping prompts for, what your style of parenting is, how you want to relate to your children. And it helps you to have more confidence about the way you're relating to your kids. I like the subtitle. The subtitle is A Guide to Unlocking Your Natural Parenting Wisdom, because you have that. Everybody else is going to have opinions about how you should parent your children, especially now during being sheltered in place. So this is very important. And then, of course, there's the basic book, The Creative Journal, that has a lot of guidelines for journaling and lots of pictures in color. And that will give you some basic prompts for working on yourself and sharing with others. I want to thank you for visiting today, and we will be doing more of these videos. So come on back and send me your requests. We will have it on the screen, a place to contact me. Thank you. Be well and stay safe.